Aisha, what have been the biggest challenge for you in terms of scaling up? You've got a technology, you feel confident that it can work. She's won, by the way, a lot of prizes and gotten a lot of attention, so this is not like one of those infomercials where, you know, you order it and you can't make the thing work. It's, but what have been the biggest challenges, and how could both the public sector and the private sector be more helpful in terms of encouraging young entrepreneurs like you?
Well, based on our experience, I guess what we need here is like a support system, because we have the passion. So if you don't mind me telling you the backstory of how we started, the main inspiration of coming up with the application, a lighting application, was when I did a personal immersion up in the mountains of Kalinga. So there I learned of a story that because of scarcity of public transportation, people had to travel down the mountain and walk 6 hours just to get kerosene for their lamps. And they do that every other day. So we have the passion. So what we need is like a support system, both from the private sector and the government, to like mentor us, guide us how we can scale up the product or the project. And yes, we also need a lot of support in terms of funding. So that's where that's our main challenge right now. We're on a critical phase. We're trying to mass produce the lamp. So we're just looking for someone to fund us to get the project moving.
I'm just saying serving as a matchmaker here a little bit. But a couple of things, and I know we're running out of time, but I just want to comment on. First of all, I do think that there's a role to play for government in providing tax incentives for the production of clean energy. What's been interesting, if you look at solar, for example, heavy subsidies on the front end, but because of the trend lines in reducing the costs per BTU coming out over the last several years, it's exceeded many of our expectations, and increasingly the subsidies become less and less necessary. So early phase, you may need some support. Over time, less support. A second area, Jack, where I do think that the government has an important role to play, and I think you wouldn't disagree with this, is on basic research and development. Most of your businesses, the people in this audience, you have an R&D budget, but oftentimes it's commercializing a technology that's relatively proven, tweaking it, where governments can do what it's hard for companies to do, is to that front-end basic research that doesn't have necessarily an immediate payoff, but will then serve as the laboratories for young people like Aisha to discover, based on that basic research, I've got a new idea and I can do something else. And that's, in fact, how the internet came about, in part, was a combination of incredible innovation, but also some basic government funding that had come in on the front end.